keep running to you. Sometimes I'll get weary.
It is a beautiful day today, and thank you so much for joining us on Impact My World, an online program focused on bringing the godly view to life's real challenges. My name is Sandra DMH, and today we will be talking about a very important topic on Impact My World, and that topic is unforgiveness, or the other side of it, forgiveness, so to say. We'll take a quick break now, and when we return, Impact My World continues. Don't go away. Welcome back. Thank you so much for staying tuned to Impact My World. I'm not in the studio alone today. I have my friends around. I have Peter, I have Maiwa, and I have my husband as well. Hi, everybody.
Hello. Hi.
Okay, thank you so much for joining me on Impact My World. I had said we are going to be talking about a very interesting topic. Now, that topic is a topic that a lot of people have shied away from. Some have pretended like it never really happened to them, or that they've actually gotten over it. And that's the topic on unforgiveness and the other side of it, forgiveness. So I'll start with you, Peter. What would you say unforgiveness is?
Well, I would say unforgiveness is when it's a situation where a person refuses to let go of a hurt. The person has been offended, and the person decides to retain that offense against that person who has offended him or her.
So obviously, there's a retention of the hurts and the offenses that come to the offender or the offended party, so to say. Okay, so Maiwa, tell me, when people actually say I am offended, what do you think has transpired between themselves and the offending party?
Well, a lot. I can offend someone. I can offend someone who doesn't know that, who I don't know that I have offended. I can intentionally offend someone. I can as well unintentionally offend someone. And people can be offended by your success without you knowing. People can be offended for just being okay. So somehow we will get people offended, and then we will be offended as well. I pray that God will help us to understand other dimensions linking to this discussion
of offenses. Yes, definitely, because when it comes to offenses, you just realize that offenses actually is focused on speech and action. So it's either something somebody has said, as into you, or an action somebody has actually carried out against you. That's basically what happens, right?
Well, I think offenses too can come from inaction.
Okay.
So speech, action, and inaction. So when you expect somebody to take an action and the person doesn't take an action, that inaction might cause offenses for somebody.
Okay, so now let's look at another scenario. I remember a story I heard of somebody, a lady who actually traveled abroad and then took her husband along with her, and then all of a sudden she became a punching bag to the husband, who eventually left her. As in, she almost had a near-death experience. That kind of person, you would realize that the hurt the person is going through is totally going to be different from the hurt of somebody who thinks, oh, I borrowed this person money and the person did not repay me back the money at the stipulated time. Why do you think that situation actually differs, and the degree of that hurt? What would you just say about that kind of scenario?
Okay, if you look at it in that way, now the degree at which people get offended varies. For instance, somebody can be offended just by moving something away from a particular location, and the level of that person's offense is, the way that person will be offended will be as if you have done something very terrible. While some other people, something that might seem very terrible might just, be something light to them. So I think it borders on the experience of people, the way they have, interacted with others in the past, or how they have grown up what they have seen around them, the things their environment has constructed in their mind. So those are the things that inform people's reactions to, certain actions that they receive from people and get them offended.
Yeah, if I can add to that, you see, sometimes the way we are brought up also matters. You see, what is imputed into you, the value that is imputed into you, also comes to play. Because if you are taught how to forgive and not forget per se, how to bear people whenever they do something that is not that. So from where, this is what I feel. The way you are brought up also comes to play in forgiving, in letting go. Yes, in an environment that you grew up also matter. That talks about the environment as well. So I see it's a deeper thing. It's a deeper thing.
Okay, so Shola, tell me, I'm sure you've had series of experiences where you probably got offended. Now, as a Christian, because that I believe is the differentiating factor from somebody who is not exactly a Christian. The natural reaction for offense is a retaliation. That means if I were not a Christian, somebody offended me, it's natural to react back. It's natural to retaliate back on what it is that person has actually done to me, by way of trying to express my displeasure over what it is the person has done, right? So if that is the scenario, now from your own point of view as a Christian, how has it played out for you while you were not a Christian? How would you look at things? And now that you are a Christian, how do you now look at offenses?
It's a funny question. Let me put it that way. In our day, the word Christianity means several things. People call themselves Christians because they were born into a Christian home. But Christianity, in the real sense, is a way of life. That's when you have met Christ. You can be born a Christian and have not met Christ. So, though you can have godly values growing up, but you're not really a Christian. But in that case, let me not digress too much. Forgiving or forgiveness as a Christian, it's not only Christians who can forgive, though. Everybody is wired to be able to let go. You understand? But as a Christian, you have something in you that can help you easily let go of things that naturally you should not let go of. So as Christians, we have the Holy Spirit in us to help us overcome us, to help us to even to a point where it's even difficult for you to be offended.
Okay, so now what you're trying to say is it's very, very possible to get to that point in our relationship with the Holy Spirit where we, our hearts, so to say, will not retain offenses. Yes. So that means we can walk daily, even in this world where offenses come every now and then. We can walk daily.
A good example is the story of Stephen.
Okay.
A natural man who plays curses on people that are killing. You are taking life. What have I done? You naturally place a curse on the people who are doing that. But he was asking for mercy on their behalf. That's what having God in you will turn you to us.
Okay, so now the God factor is very key, and that tells me that the person whom you also relate with regards to offenses that have been maybe done against you is also very important. So it means that it is possible for you to be talking to somebody whom you think has the solution, or somebody whom you think can help you actually onboarding, but that person doesn't have the intention of making you retain that offense. The person can't help you because the person is human. So the person will bring in emotions into it and try to look at the picture holistically. So the God factor is important, meaning that whoever it is you are talking to also has to have a deep understanding and deep knowledge of what God's own strategy to forgiveness is, because there are a lot of people that would say, okay, I've forgiven, and then they just keep the person at arm's length. Okay, so Peter, what do you have to say about when you say I've forgiven somebody and then you keep the person at arm's length?
Okay, I will say this. First of all, to not forgive in the immediate is a reasonable action.
Okay.
It's what makes you human, or that's what shows that you are still in a body, right? It shows that you are not a spirit. Now, to forgive. Now, if you decide to forgive, then your actions look like it looks not so normal, because the normal thing is you hurt me, I hurt you.
Logical.
It's only logic. I must
natural man.
have some closure. So now, if you look at this, I will use an example. For instance, I'll use myself as an example. I had a situation with a friend of mine, and we didn't it didn't end well. Now, I was so mad at this guy that I had to, for my own sake, I had to help myself. I had to say, I don't want to be around you, because the more I see you, the offense comes all the more. Now, I know we can all say, I've practicalized it before, where I just get offended and I just go and pick up 1 Corinthians chapter 13 and start reading, love is this, love is this, love is this, But it doesn't really work like that, because as you see the person, you are still hurting.
Yes.
I must admit the fact that I have that weakness. I need that help. So when I now have a situation where someone has offended me, if it means keeping the person at arm's length so that I can heal, because forgiveness is a process. It's not a one-off thing.
That's true.
You need to settle some things in your mind, before you can say, I have forgiven him. It is not, if you don't settle those things, things begin to fester inside of you.
That's true.
Okay, sorry, let me come in. I'm not the moderator, but permit me to ask Peter this question. Okay, if in the process of trying to heal and trying to deal with that thing,
yes,
rapture or something happens and life ends,
yes,
you have retained offense. Okay, so I think we should attain the height whereby God can work in a person to the point that
I'm saying it's
you
possible.
can almost completely.
But I'm saying to create a balance, because it's like asking a child to begin to scale a hurdle.
That's
a child
true.
who's just learning to walk.
It's a gradual process. Yeah.
Because it's a process. There are people who have grown to that level where it doesn't matter now. For me now, those things will not matter, because I have outgrown those situations. Now, but for some people, that is what can help them.
That's true.
Now, that you forgive does not, I can say, okay, I've forgiven him. Because I want to. Though I know that, this is God's plan for me. I want to forgive this person. But at the same time, something keeps, bothering me. I don't want to give room to the devil to begin to allow me to think of so many things.
That's true.
If it means staying away, I will do that, just to have that peace.
Yes. Okay, so I know I've seen scenarios as well where people make statements like, who does she think she is, or who does he think he is to have done such a thing to me? And for me, that smells pride in the situation. So for somebody who has pride, how easy do you think it will be for that person to actually forgive an offending party?
Well, if I may attempt to answer this question, pride, as we all know, this is supposed to be for everybody, but from the Christian point of view, pride is not a manifestation of one of the gifts of the Holy Spirit. So in fact, is one of the things that we should not, have as a good Christian. So if pride is there, we need to deal with pride. So if one is, being proud to an extent that why on earth will this person do this to me, and why will I forgive such person? I think that person needs to check himself.
And then I also believe that because Jesus Christ is actually our example,
yes,
we did not see any pride in all of the things he did, even in his corrections and all of that. He did it out of love. So now that